And this is Marfoogle TV. Today we're going to talk about artificial wombs, a nuke that could wipe out all of our satellites, pregnancy robots, absolutely nuts. Of course, we're going to talk about the space Cuban Missile Crisis, that into detail. The guy that got arrested in Netanyahu's senior council that essentially probably had the power to spy on people, essentially was looking at stuff that nobody should be looking at. Not only did he get arrested here in the United States, but fled to Israel. We're also going to be talking about the mysterious evacuation of a air traffic tower. Something absolutely weird happened there. And then, of course, we're going to talk about North Korean aircraft appearing to approach a certain border. So we'll talk about that. And Iran's missiles possibly coming in range of the U.S. cities. So we'll go through all of this. This is going to be a longer short, but again, I hope that you guys tune in. Just a quick update, you guys. We are very, very close ending the disastrous 18-day gridlock with Xfinity. So I did get my 8th generation, essentially the router today. It did not self-activate. They're doing all of this crazy stuff. It is a very, very long story. If anybody is interested on it, if you want me to do a video on Twitter, I will. It is absolute hell dealing with Xfinity, dealing with their incompetence. So let me know if you guys want that. I will put that over on Twitter if so. All right. So first of all, thank you guys. Thank you, Taija NZ. Good morning to some of you. Good night to some. Thank you, Yvonne Berger. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, TJ Dilly. I appreciate that. What's up, Marf? We're on live. That's right. Yeah, long nights, long days. Thank you guys for being patient. All right, AI experts, and this is actually a grid. I forgot to mention our grid. AI experts return from China stunned. The U.S. grid is so weak that the race may already be over. Now, I've talked about this many times as far as the two countries and what they've been doing as far as not only AI, our country and our Pentagon essentially admitting that we're behind. Thank you, Marky Sparky. I appreciate that support. But not only have we been behind in certain areas, certain key areas, but as far as our grid, you'll see, because they compared the both, right? Everywhere we went, people treated energy availability as a given, Rui Ma wrote on X after returning from the recent tour of China's AI hubs. It says, for American AI researchers, that's almost unimaginable. In the U.S., surging AI demand is colliding with a fragile power grid, the kind of extreme bottleneck that Goldman Sachs warns could severely choke the industry's growth. Translation: because of our fragile and archaic grid and the fact that it is already, close to capacity, and it's quickly coming up at this point with it's not even a bathtub curve. It's more like a rocket, right? Later we'll talk about, it's almost like an Iranian rocket shot from sea hitting LA. It's so bad that I've actually had Fugel family members reach out as far as they're in the energy business. They're in lineman positions. They're in actual construction positions. They are in upper management positions and corporate positions, saying that this is something that is going to hit in the next year and a half so hard that really not a lot of us are going to expect. There's going to be, and here's what was described to me by one of the people that I do actually take the most out of all of these people, one really stuck out. Basically said that we're going to have a lot of Midwest states. You're going to have a lot of these events where you're going to have rolling blackouts. You're going to have grid failures. You're going to have these cascading failures that happen, and it's all because they're basically pushing and just plopping all of this usage onto a grid that is still archaic and aging. And as many plants as we make and nuclear plants that are planned, that we're not going to be doing it fast enough for the demand, especially since this isn't just like a demand by the people. This is a demand by competition. China, on the other hand, is just absolutely going nuts on this. And we know that this part is true. Like, we know that they do a lot of propaganda. They lie about a lot of stuff. This part is not. They almost have a virtual monopoly on freaking solar and different natural minerals that actually have everything to do with our future. But this part, we know that they are ahead in all of these really, really, really key areas. Ma, a renowned expert in Chinese technology and founder of the media company TechBuzz China, took her team on the road to get a firsthand look at the country's AI advancements. She told Fortune that while she isn't an energy expert, she attended enough meetings and talked with enough insiders to come away with the conclusion that should send chills down the spine of Silicon Valley. In China, building enough power for data centers is no longer up for debate. Says, quote, "This is a stark contrast to the US, where AI growth is increasingly tied to debates over data center power consumption and grid limitations." Now, this is absolutely what we've been hearing. You're talking about grid limitations putting a huge cap on where our actual progression can go. And it's really crazy because you're talking to somebody who really does not approve of how fast AI is going. I mean, heck, I just talked to my friends at a birthday party yesterday about everybody started talking about these AI videos. One gentleman talked about how it was tricking his mom like on a daily basis. This guy cracked me up yesterday talking about how his mom keeps believing all of these stupid stories that are essentially generated by AI. Not to mention they're doing actual videos of our president saying silly stuff, but they of course make it so silly that you know it's parody or it's sarcasm. But it is pretty crazy that a regular person does have access to the tools to make a video that is indistinguishable from reality of the president saying, you know, oh, I was dancing with this woman and she came up and I grabbed her. It's crazy that a regular person can make that video. And of course, they have to make it so silly that you know it's fake. But that's the only reason you know it's fake. Any regular person or any 90-year-old woman looking at it is going to go, holy moly, I can't believe he just said that on live TV. So, you know, it's really, you know, for me, it's a really scary place where AI is going. I think it was called Mountainhead, the new movie with Steve Carell and others basically pretending to be Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, and all these. They're basically parodying of all of these billionaires. Well, the actual plot of that movie is very, very scary because it is essentially them hiding up at their retreat while the world essentially has tools given to them. In the movie, I think it's like a Facebook that basically allows everybody to have the tools to have AI. Why this is scary, not only because of the fact of what movies and videos that people could make and what fake things people could actually do, this is actually scary too because of the fact that not only will the people not have you know, the differential skills to know the real versus fake, but you will also have a situation where once that happens, they are immediately going to crack down. I mean, immediately. They're already talking about this. They're already lining up the paperwork. They're already lining up what they need. All of these companies and half of the freaking platforms right now have already put into some place some sort of age verification. Now, I'm going to do a whole video on this separately because this is huge. This isn't just for YouTubers. This is for you. If you watch 95% motorcycle videos on YouTube, right now there's an AI thing that is already embedded that say your kid takes your phone for 3 days and starts watching kids videos or starts watching, you know, Blue's Clues. The AI has the ability now to say, hey, this is a 6 years old or 8-year-old watching this platform. Say if you have that account, they can say, hey, this account is now an 8-year-old's account and we are going to delete it. They're also going to require, that's the first part of finding out exactly who you are on the other end. This is an AI that's basically profiling you. No different than an FBI guy profiles a killer based on his habits, right? They start getting the profile down so close that they can basically pin certain things where they know how to find them. So just think about that in the grand scheme of things. As far as China and us having this grid and AI fight, AI is going to be the future wars. So just keep that in mind. It is a very, very big deal. And most people don't even realize why they should be scared yet. Before we move on, I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. Check out all of the affiliates, especially Tactical, because they're running out of those. Those are the same ones that won the Army contract. These things are tough as nails. Again, These are made to go on the back of Humvees. That's one of our favorite solar generators, but they paused and basically stopped selling them to the public. Go check that out at marfooglenews.com/energy, or go down to the list. I would highly recommend getting yourself an EMP shield because that protects your houses, cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, solar generators. This one has an EMP shield that's made directly for it against any kind of EMP strike, any kind of CME from the sun, or any kind of surge from anything. In fact, the house version will protect you against lightning, all sorts of storms. If you're in the Midwest and you have lightning storms, unlike we do here, if you have a ton of lightning storms, you can turn your house into one of those super expensive Home Depot, surge protector bars, only without the price. In fact, the price of probably 2 or 3 of those, you get an EMP shield that will turn your entire house into one of those. So keep that in mind. Very easy to install, especially the car versions, which could be the difference of you getting home or not. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP for that, and go down to the description, of course, check out the full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document for today. All right, and then there's so much more to get into. So, all right, so this is actually kind of an extension of this. So WoodMac sounds alarm on transformer shortage amid this AI data center boom. The AI center boom could soon face some serious headwinds, and the problem isn't the shortage of NVIDIA GPUs, but America's fragile power grid. A combination of disastrous green policies and soaring data center power demand has already sparked a power bill crisis across the mid-Atlantic states. Like I said, these are the states that are going to be hit the worst. Well, a nationwide grid tightening crisis unfolds. This is triggering a growing wave of discontent among residents in Maryland, New Jersey, and other states who are angered by, of course, one side of the aisle's prioritization of green policies, and that have retired stable fossil fuel power generation in favor of unreliable solar and wind, resulting in power bill inflation like never seen before. So on top of almost everything, and I mean almost everything, being shrinkflated, you're talking about inflation at the grocery store in every way that's already been talked about 1,000 times over. You're also talking about having things like this that are crunching us from every direction. And in my opinion, this is just my side crazy theory. It is on purpose. They're crunching us harder than ever before because they're getting us ready to essentially be on such a footing where we're begging for help and we're begging for any solution. And that solution is going to come in and fix everything, but at a cost. Thank you. Thank you again from Canada. It says, little hell in your life, transit ions. Hey, again, thank you so much, Freebird. I appreciate that from Canada. It's been such a long day. I'll have to process that and get back to that tomorrow. Making matters worse, AI data centers are counting on an upgraded grid to handle the new base loads of power. This massive multi-layered supply chain needed to upgrade the grid spans raw materials, transmission lines, circuit breakers, cables, control systems, and power generation systems. Yet one of the most critical components in that upgrade cycle, transformers, is already in dangerously short supply. Now, I want people really to think about during this AI boom. Now transformers are already in short supply. What if an attack hits us right now in this crucial time when you have all of these wars lining up? Where you have all of these wars lining up, and I mean, legit, every country in the world is on one side or the other at this point, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, an EMP hits, some sort of event happens, and where we all of a sudden fry all of our transformers that are already on an archaic and aging grid. Now you've just taken them out. Say our Black Start program, our program that basically if EMP or anything hits our grid and knocks it down, that's our plan to turn it back on. Not only do our enemies know exactly what step we're going to take to turn it back on, well, what if you just don't have the transformers to replace them? And some of these transformers are the size of a house. They're custom built. They're not built here. They're not even built in the United States. They're built overseas, and some of them can take anywhere from 9 to 18 to 24 months to not only build, but to get here. And that's assuming we have a supply chain that runs, right? So I hope that over time, I see a lot of preppers right now so weary because everybody is so confident with this administration. And I don't blame you for having a glass half full kind of mentality right now. But I see a lot of preppers that are just like they don't even know why they're putting fire under people's feet. We need to be telling our friends and family members to get ready right now. And everybody says, oh, well, people have been saying this for 10 years. People have been saying this for hundreds of years. People have been saying it for thousands of years. But you know what happens is ever so many years, there are huge events that affect thousands of us to hundreds of thousands of us to millions of us. And when those events happen, there are certain people that survive and there's certain people that don't. And most of us, including myself, would rather be one of the people that survives rather than people that not. And it's not so much most of you have already accepted your own kind of death scenario or had close calls and really don't care if you perish. Most of you with families, though, do care about your kids. In fact, that's most all of what we care about, right? We don't care if we perish in an accident. We care about like the second after. What happens to our kids? What happens to our wives? What happens to our husbands, right? So I hope that people really do heed the messaging. They say, oh, I've been saying this for 10 years. Well, this isn't a wedding. Again, I'll just use that as an analogy. It takes months to years to plan for a wedding. That's a wedding. This is a world war. It takes decades. And we've been watching it being, built for decades. Thank you for joining Sport No Negative. Thank you for joining the fam. I appreciate that. All right. But yeah, I mean, it's time to get grinding. And I hope that people understand too, that if you are just barely scraping by, then barely scrape by and just $5 or $10 or $15 a week, go get some extra food, go get some extra water and get prepped. It really does. Just that little, even every paycheck, just a tiny percentage can really, really make a difference. You can go look up how many people have done very little every paycheck and have done supremely through some of the worst disasters in the world. But yeah, and then a new report from the global research and consultancy group Wood Mackenzie highlights that U.S. efforts to upgrade power grids for AI-driven data centers will push transformer demand beyond supply of 30% this year, driving up costs and delaying projects. Analysts warn that the shortage will only worsen and persist well into the decade's end. This is just more crap that's going to come throwing at us, like a straight up monkey with a freaking just spinning arm. Okay, that's what's coming at us. So just get ready to hold up like a piece of plastic, or maybe not clear, transparent plastic because you don't want to see it, but maybe like a white piece of plastic, or maybe brown. But you guys get the point. You don't want to see what's coming, and honestly, most of you should see what is headed our way. Viewed as a national security threat, the U.S. production of transformers can't keep pace, meaning about 80% of the units will be imported, mostly from South Korea, Mexico, and other countries. Keep in mind that Mexico is having all sorts of issues. All of a sudden, you've got the U.S. saying, we're going to go after the cartels in Mexico. South Korea, you have North Korea as part of China's puppets now pushing and prodding and infiltrating South Korea. That's not just my opinion. It's about half of South Korea's opinion. That was the ex-president of South Korea's opinion that China had infiltrated. In fact, China and pro-North Koreans have infiltrated South Korea to try to screw up not only South Korea, but South Korea's essentially their bond and allyship with the U.S. It's not talked about much, again, outside of our sphere of preppers, but man, if you go look for yourself, you'll see what I mean with that ex-president getting taken out. And then just weeks ago, we warned that U.S. transformer wait times have ballooned. Get this, from 50 to 127 weeks, crippling grid resilience, whether it's upgrading power grids and replacing units damaged by storms, wildfires, or domestic attacks by radical. So you want to hear something scary? It went from 50 weeks, which is bad, to 127 weeks wait time. Think about right now if something happens. Again, I'll just repeat that. It has over doubled the wait time, 127 weeks. There's 52 weeks in a year. It was almost a year wait before. Now it's 127 weeks. More than double, more than 2-year wait for transformers. Wow, doesn't that line up awesome? you know, just right after we find out that there's radios in our other transformers, the ones that we should be replacing right now. And right after we find out that China's massively infiltrated not only our water supply, not only our computers, not only our freaking ports and our freaking cranes, not only our cameras, our surveillance, our government systems, our HR departments, and almost every freaking sheriff's department and wherever else, our 911 systems, everything else, like it's straight up out of Dragon Day. But now there's a 127-week wait on Transformers. So hopefully that doesn't miss too many people, because you'll be getting a haircut with that one if so. And then Iran can strike U.S. cities. Now, I don't know to be worried about Iran or not, because, again, there's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of fear that goes out there. But they are saying that Iran, of course, a lawmaker, in fact, said Iran can strike U.S. cities from the sea, claims all of Europe already within range. This was an Iranian MP. Iran's known cruise missile ranges and limited blue water basing suggest that practical obstacles striking the U.S. homeland from 2,000 kilometers at sea. And they're saying this, again, the Iranian lawmaker on the parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Commission said on Sunday that Tehran can target U.S. cities from offshore positions and that every European country already is within range. Remarks made as Britain, France, and Germany signaled that they are ready to reimpose UN sanctions on Iran. So there's about to be a bunch of sanctions on Iran that weren't there before. And I will say this, the Golden Dome system. What is actually happening? Why are they making a system that's not so much for our infrastructure, not so much to protect our military bases and things like this? They are made, and this system, this entire system, is going to essentially throw all of the rules, all of the peace treaties in space away to defend U.S. cities. At the same time, we have destroyers essentially backing up our borders. 4 destroyers at one point were backing up our border missions, right? They're locking down the borders. They are essentially keeping everybody out, and who knows, potentially at some point keeping everybody in. They are creating a system that can shoot missiles out of the sky from anywhere in the world, and they are trying to grab whole countries. And people still are saying, oh, it's just a bunch of nothing burgers. Everything's going to be okay. I sure hope so, guys. I sure hope so. And then North Korean aircraft appear to be approaching a maritime border, prompting warnings. 1 or more unidentified aircraft appear to have approached the inter-Korean maritime border. Remember, South Korea and Mexico. Mexico and South Korea both are going to be in the news in the next 2 weeks. Just watch. I've watched the patterns for now 8 or 9 years every single day, and it starts to get old. But unfortunately, when you start seeing it pick up and pick up and pick up, that's when something usually happens. Again, they said 1 or more unidentified aircraft appear to have approached the inter-Korean maritime border from the North Korean side on Monday, prompting repeated warnings. The activity by apparent North Korean aircraft came on the scene day as U.S. and ROK, Republic of Korea forces kicked off annual joint military drills, which Pyongyang has, I've read this 8 years in a row, twice a year, condemned as direct military provocation. And nobody takes them seriously. I would say, that's not a good idea, but it's North Korea. We don't know. But I think that now North Korea is obviously a pawn of China. I would say now pay attention. And then Netanyahu government cybersecurity director was arrested here in the U.S. for doing something in Nevada that is absolutely horrendous. And this guy has access. But, people say that Israel has one of the craziest surveillance systems in the world, right? Many people believe that Israel is actually, knows more about people around the planet better than the U.S. does. Some of the craziest weapons of surveillance essentially have patents that go directly to Israel. This is one of the guys at the very top of this. And he got arrested under a 2-week sting. And this really makes me think. Obviously, the two countries are very close. The FBI, how controlled or uncontrolled are they? They're investigating this guy, which they obviously know who he is and what government he's a part of. How is this getting to the news if this is the case? If they went in and arrested this guy, you would think it would go directly to Netanyahu and be like, hey, we just busted this guy. We want to give you a chance to do something before we tell the world that one of your top cybersecurity guys in a very, very sensitive place was doing stuff with, we won stuff on the computer. Okay. This is a very creepy thing. And it makes you think like this guy had so much power and so much, clearance. And you hear these rumors that these guys that do this those are the ones who end up getting into it. And I hate to use this as an example, but it's like, priests in an all male situation end up, preying on little ones that like the statistics go up, or all male schools have these issues with certain things, and it could go same with all female or anything like that. It's like it exposes them to something and they end up going into the dark side or something. Like this guy had access and was trying to catch the bad guys and was dealing with all this nasty stuff. This is a whole bigger conversation as far as EpiPen and all the stuff that happened, right? A lot of people believe that guy, EpiPen, was actually a part of this country's nasty underground scene or undercover scene where he was actually there providing the gross stuff. And I mean the most gross stuff you've ever imagined. No country wants to admit that they may have even took part in or funded or participated in, but that was to then blackmail people and go, ha, we got you doing this, this, and this. We've got video of you on the island doing this, this, and this, and now your whole country is going to be our puppet. That's the kind of stuff that people are believing is happening or happened with EpiPen, and that's why there's a lot of side theories about what actually happened with him. So it really makes you wonder about guys like this. Why did the FBI publicly, boom, boom, arrest him? And then guess what? He fled to Israel. It's kind of vague how the one that I saw ended up describing it. Was he able to flee? Was it because of his status? I didn't understand that. Again, very, 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 very crazy. And that was Tom or Artyom Alexandriovich, was one of 8 arrested on felony charges of luring. This is not somebody who was just looking at pictures. Luring a small one with a computer for an act in Henderson, Nevada. Somebody who came from that position over there, came to our country, came to one of our cities, and tried to one of our kids. Pretty messed up. Oh, and then there was an update. I did see there was an update. The U.S. State Department of Office of Near Eastern Affairs has disavowed the claim that the president's administration secured the release of Tom Artyom Alexandriovich to facilitate his return to Israel. And then the Ronald Reagan thing. So the Ronald Reagan Airport Air Traffic Control Tower was evacuated as flights were forced to end up circling. It was reported that the Air Traffic Control Tower at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport was mysteriously evacuated on Monday after a flight from Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport was forced to circle the area. According to the post from FlightAware, DL 2476 was forced to circle the airport when it did not receive a signal back from the air traffic control tower about a landing vector. It says unconfirmed reports suggest that the fire alarm had gone off in the tower, but there was no confirmation of an actual fire. Now, that's such a scary thing. If there is only one tower, they are giving directions to all of the planes. You could cause an extreme accident. You're talking about somebody pulls the fire alarm or lights an actual fire in one of these places, takes out all of the flight controllers, or say if there's multiple flight control towers and they essentially do some sort of act to take them all out of it, all of a sudden you've got 20 planes trying to land in a major airport and none of them know where anybody else is, or they're trying to communicate. Everybody's flying around confused. At this point, in this case, it was flying in circles. That's a pretty scary scenario. Was it done on purpose? Was it sabotage? What the hell happened? Again, very, very weird. Again, there was no confirmation of an actual fire. They just said that it was evacuated for mysterious reasons. And then this is the Cuban Missile Crisis in space. Russia is building a space nuke that could wipe out every satellite in orbit, U.S. warns. As Russia held its Victory Day parade this year, hackers back in the Kremlin hijacked an orbiting satellite that provides television service to Ukraine. Instead of a normal programming, Ukrainian viewers saw parade footage beamed in from Moscow, waves of tanks, soldiers, and weaponry. The message was meant to intimidate and was an illustration of 21st century war is waged not just on land, sea, and air, but also in cyberspace and the reaches of outer space. Disabling a satellite could deal a devastating blow without one bullet, and it could be done by targeting the satellite's security software or disrupting its ability to send or receive signals from Earth. This is going to be increasingly important in the future because, again, in the future, you will have, much like some phones have, actual phone-to-satellite technology. You're going to have an actual breakdown of all communications, including government communications, if something like this happens. It says if you can impede a satellite's ability to communicate, you can cause a significant disruption, said Tom Pace, CEO of NetRise, a cybersecurity firm focused on protecting supply chains. Hopefully he's not trying to lure any supply chains. All these cybersecurity guys, I'm telling you. Think about GPS, said Pace, who served in the Marines before working on cyber issues at the Department of Energy. Imagine if a population lost that and the confusion it would cause. I never want to imagine it. I hope I never see it. Because honestly, we're just already in just such a crap circus right now. National security officials say Russia is developing a nuclear, space-based weapon designed to take out virtually every satellite in low Earth orbit at once. The weapon would combine a physical attack that would ripple outward, destroying more satellites, while the nuclear component is used to fry the electronics. Again, this is an EMP in space, essentially, and this would knock out all of the satellites. This is not the only thing that's happening. China has not only literally said out loud and said, hey, you guys, we've got cable cutters that can cut any underwater cable, the hard lines between our countries, the physical landline between us and others. But now you've got Russia practicing this other thing, just like I said, the possibility of Russia going and taking on NATO at the same time as China taking Taiwan, Iran and Israel, Venezuela and Guyana, of course, North Korea and South Korea, all of these things popping off at once. Not only that, you've got cartels mobilizing in Mexico. You've got Nicaragua and other places, South Africa possibly jumping in. You have them try to split and spread the U.S. military as thin as they possibly can because we are the bread and butter of military. I mean, we are the top of the top. But how can we defend if we are literally split in every which way? Well, all the simulations by all three of the major peer-to-peer countries have shown that that is the way to beat the U.S., is to split everybody up. And maybe they went with those simulations and all of those, crazy AI, futuristic simulations, and they went to all of the other countries and they said, hey, guys, we all have a common enemy. We all hate the U.S. We all want to stop being under their thumb. Here's the only way we can defeat them. And if you don't believe us, do your own math on it. Everybody else did their simulation, and I swear to you, in 6 months, a few years back, all of these countries did the same thing. It's almost like they gave us a call, like, hey, I think our only thing is this. And then, say China said to Russia, hey, we need to take them out and to take them out together. But we even need more help than that. We need some other countries. And they're like, well, what if we take them out? Everybody's using the dollar. Well, maybe we should come up with another currency. Maybe come up with a whole nother group. Yeah, the sanctions will be bad. And yeah, if they try to take out the US dollar out of everything, maybe we should come up with something. I don't know. We really got to throw a brick at this window. Bricks. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. This kind of thing. I honestly think that this whole thing is a big orchestration of a massive plan for World War III and something that is trying to take over power. But people are so confused. They're not following their hearts. They're not following their guts. And they're thinking, no, this is propaganda. This is the confusing. This is this. This is that. This is fear. Well, at some point, the big events happen. Most of you probably have family members that were in World War II. World War II was real. People have debates about things in World War II that were fake. But man, it definitely was. World War II itself happened. And World War III will. It will happen again and again and again. All right, and then, oh man, pregnancy robots. I don't have the freaking update. My other reference phone died. Pregnancy robot. They're talking about artificial wombs. Absolutely insanity. Okay, so not only are they talking about artificial wombs, and they're not talking about this. They are working on these things as we speak. They're creating babies in labs. In the future, you could go in and essentially order a custom designer baby. The scary part is that this is coming along, and we have covered every step of the way on this. They're even talking about pregnancy robots. This is a very, very, very disturbing thing. We're playing God. I don't personally think we should. But again, you can let me know your opinion down in the comments down below. As far as, I'm trying to remember if there was that last... I don't know if there was one more story, and if I miss it, I will make sure to talk about it tomorrow afternoon. I think the pregnancy robots was the last one, but I'm not sure. Make sure to check all of our links out in the description down below. Again, I would highly recommend getting the tactical if they're available. If it does not say buy now, they are out, and that means you can no longer buy them. The Flex 1500, the blue version, is not steel reinforced. That's the lower. They have just stopped selling that completely to the public. They're just working on the tacticals, and they're just working on them for the Army. But yeah, like these things are super freaking cool, super easy to actually switch off and just take off. I mean, the old one, you had to like literally figure it out. These ones are freaking easy as heck to actually move around, and they're tough as nails. So go check them out if you can get your hands on them. If it doesn't say buy now, then they're gone. I didn't bother to check. A couple days ago, they had some left, but I would highly recommend getting your hands on those. You can extend them. You can stack them, I believe, up to 5 batteries, and that's only because after that, it's like super unwieldy. You could probably do 40 on top of each other, but you wouldn't ever want to do that. They can be connected, and it's like over 40 batteries or something like that. So you can go one and take it with work and, you know, go power your drills, charge your stuff up. This is like a battery bank that can charge your phone a couple times 100. You know, I mean, this is incredible. If you want more capacity than this, there's another brand that we like. The affiliates are all over on the website. Again, we have multiple different affiliates. We don't just go with one brand. We go with whatever we believe that will actually help you. We believe in quality. We believe in stuff that will actually save your life. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I hope that you enjoyed this update. And I'm trying to think if there was a serious one that I missed. I probably did miss one. I know, but now my phone is completely dead. So I will update you on that tomorrow. I feel like I'm missing a very big one. But either way, tomorrow afternoon I'll update you. And then as far as Comcast and Xfinity, I hate them. I hope that they never procreate. And yes, I mean Comcast and Xfinity. If they did procreate, they would have the ugliest child ever. And I'm not one for body shaming, but it would be something, a mix between some sort of 80s, puppet and some sort of 80s alien busting out of a stomach. Okay. That's Xfinity to me. That's in my heart what I believe they are. In fact, they are that alien with 2 mouths that comes out of each other. And that's just the automated system. You're not even going into like dealing with people before that. Now, no offense to any of you Comcast workers. I know there's good people that work there, and I have had some good people. But I'm now 18 days without cable, and it is completely their fault in every which way. 2 weeks before I moved, I did all the due diligence. They just didn't do theirs. So tomorrow, today I got the 8th generation X-Fi thing. I got one of the construction guys that was supposed to drop a line. I told them since the 1st of the month. I said, we've got a conduit that comes from the street, goes underneath. If you know about this, dropping a line, basically running a line under the street. I said, we've already got one. They sent a residential tech, an indoor guy. when they should have sent an outdoor guy first. He came at 7:55 on a Sunday morning, first job of the day. Never get an Xfinity appointment until after lunch, and don't get it too close to the end of the day because they'll want to go home. Get it after lunch, like 2 o'clock. Don't ever get the first appointment of the day. They don't want to work yet, neither do you, and especially on a Sunday morning. This guy at 7:55, he did his great. He showed up early, but by 8:01, he had already set up an appointment for a drop a line, which drop a line meant that they dig and have a construction crew and get permits and get somebody to just come look at it in a couple weeks. They did that in the first 6 minutes, and he didn't even look. I was trying to show him a box. Frankly, there was a language barrier. He only spoke Ukrainian or Russian, had to call his supervisor. He didn't speak very good English, and I didn't understand that either. I'm like, this is Xfinity, right? And he ends up I said, can you please look at this box? There's a conduit here. There's a tube, and that tube goes to that tube. I knew I was right. Again, they would not send an outdoor guy. I'm like, can you send a second guy, just an experienced guy? Don't send me the 19-year-old that profusely sweats within 3 minutes. Send me a guy that's been working for Comcast 10 years, 5 years. And he'll look at that and he'll go, oh, you already have a conduit. We can just run or router a cable through here, vacuum it through, boom, 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 get you set up. Splice it, get you hooked up, and get your stuff going again. Nope. I got the 19-year-old that wanted to leave in 6 minutes and probably wanted to watch TikTok while he pretended to go to his next job. The construction guy to map it, that little wheel that you see them walking around to do distance, he ended up just doing everything for me. He ended up just routing the damn cable through the already there conduit, said I was right the entire time, and he just did it for me. So I've got the cable, I've got signal, I've got the router, but now they said that they need to deprovision my damn phone line that I never used. Swear on everything. I put that phone on. I so regret it. We never used a house phone once in 5 years. Didn't even remember I had it. And that's what's holding us up at this point. So I hope that gets fixed. I hope that after this, just like this, I will never move again. And I will never, ever, ever have to deal with Xfinity automated systems again. And any Xfinity systems. Eventually, I would like to switch to something else, but there's no other options. They've got like a monopoly on cable. It's really, really lame. They've got a monopoly on speeds in most areas, so people, they know it too. I can't tell you how many times I told them my phone number, and they're like, "Well, please put your phone number in." I'd go, "Well, and they go, "Okay, but we still need a number." Okay, all right. But can you give us a number? Yeah. All right, thanks. But you still haven't added a number. Can you please give us the phone number you're calling about? Or type it in. Typing it in. Sorry, we didn't get that. Goodbye. That is how my last 18 days have gone. So if you've had this experience, please let me know in the comments down below, or please don't. I don't want to trigger anyone. I didn't want this to be something that, changes the population of the planet, bring up old memories, trigger anything. So again, if you don't want to think about it, I totally understand, especially if you don't have a current therapist and insurance. I'm with you there. Thank you guys. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Check out our website for all pertinent information, any of the bibliography, all of it's there, all of the links to everything there. And if I missed a story, in fact, it will be on the website by morning. So have a good night, be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.